everybody, welcome back to Devils United. Back again with another preview, and this time we'll be doing the Brentford preview. And we've got Reece today. Reece, how are you doing?
I'm very well, Maisy. How are you doing? And thanks for having me on.
You're welcome, and I'm not too bad, thank you. Before we get into the preview, I'll just jump into the comments. Good evening, Gary. Hope you're well. Thanks for coming in. The pain, yes, I'm feeling pain from Newcastle game, so I definitely feel that your pain because I feel pain because of football too. Hey there, Rather. Hope you are well. Thanks for coming in. The chief mod's about. And good evening, Niall. I hope you are well. Thank you for coming in. So I've already slightly touched on Newcastle, and I've already mentioned I feel pained. I feel like I'm wounded. But I want to get your thoughts in the game as well.
Well, I know obviously over the weekend, you were scheduled to do a watch along with John. Obviously, you were unable to make it, and I stepped in for you. If you watched that, if anyone watched that watch along, let's just go back and you will see me numerous times. I'm not going to repeat the language that I said on that stream because I've got like a little bit more decorum here tonight, but I did literally call these players certain words that they deserve to be called, useless with extended adjectives involved, because we didn't turn up. It was ridiculous. Like, yes, we are in a battle to maintain our position for the Champions League, but this is a game that we're trying to show that we aren't going to get rolled over by every team in the top 9. If we lose to Brentford, again, which is another possibility, then that means like we're still yet to actually have a significant result against the top 9 away from home.
But we haven't played everyone yet in the top 9, which is one thing at least.
But, I know. But in terms of the Newcastle game, though, I'm not going to make I know there's some people that still think about mentally and physically abject. I think some of these players are generally out of sorts and they look completely rusted. But I'm not going to use that as an overall excuse when Newcastle for 90 minutes, more chances on goal, more shots on more shots on goal, more pressures. They looked completely rejuvenated as well. We looked flat. We didn't look interested. We didn't look like we even bothered to turn up. So, all in all, I'm more annoyed to say the fact that we got exactly what we deserved. We got an absolute hiding of Newcastle.
If you want me to be honest, there is no excuses. I did predict a draw when I did do the preview with John. And I did say that St. James's Park is a very hard stadium to go to, especially this season.
It is.
Newcastle has made a fortress, but the flatness and the exhaustedness, there's no excuses for it whatsoever. How many of them players who played on that pitch yesterday went to international break? De Gea didn't. Varane didn't. Shaw got a red card, so we had 10 days training. There was who else was there? Just trying to think. McTominay went, but Antoinette, I don't think he played during international break.
No, he didn't.
No, exactly. Rashford didn't go to international break, so there was more players on that pitch who didn't go to international break than did go to international break. So they had quite a few days rest. So in terms of flatness, in terms of tiredness, there's no excuse in that respect.
I agree. I agree with you. That's why I say I'm not going to use that as an excuse. I think for the international players, the likes of Sabitzer, etc., I'm entitled to give that comment to them. Makes more sense for him because he went there and he carried Austria, but the rest of them, not really. I'm surprised he started this game as well, but when I look at it in hindsight, the team that we picked relatively is strong enough to match Newcastle. I said that on the watch along with John. Our starting 11 realistically is strong enough to go head to head with them, and we've got better options off the bench. But even the players that came off the bench, like I was expecting Martial to do something. All he did yesterday, the only thing he did yesterday I saw do once was actually run, and that was about 15 yards. Sancho, I don't even know what the hell he did when he came on. Nothing of relevance. Again, I would have brought in Pellistri ahead of Sancho, and I would have brought in Fred sooner. Some of the decisions were really,
It was
questionable by the manager yesterday.
I agree. I love Ten Hag, but he needs to take responsibility for some of the things at least.
He does.
One of the things that I was thinking of in particular is I wouldn't have took Anthony off so soon. I would have took Rashford off just because Rashford did not beat any of the one-on-ones with Kieran Trippier. I do genuinely think that was his worst game this season. And even though I don't blame De Gea for the loss, he still didn't command the box, which we really did need. And I was fighting for every single corner Newcastle had. One shot on target, and it was a very lousy one shot on target. What was done by Antoinette is absolutely appalling. There's simply no excuses. Even there's no excuses for Fixture and McTominay, because it's not as though they were run ragged week in, week out at Man United like Casemiro has been, just like Fred has been, just like Bruno has been. They haven't been playing week in, week out. They've literally just played for international break, and that is it. So realistically, you'd expect them to be more on form compared to other players who started yesterday.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think the one thing is though is the one thing that was telling yesterday was the positions of the midfield, particularly for Newcastle throw-ins or our own. Must have been 3 or 4 times yesterday. I saw Fernandes and Sabitzer within 15 yards of each other, and then you had a big massive gap between Sabitzer and Scott McTominay just standing in no man's land. Like, if Newcastle had had logic, they would have cut through that. They would have scored. They would have had better opportunities to score if they did. Another thing as well that was really depressing yesterday was the fact they kept switching from right to left, easily across from Willock to say Maximan. The amount of times they got through. We were lucky that the likes of Varane and Lisandro Martinez at times were actually switched on, but we still got caught out. It's the fact it's position as well. It's just not understanding your position. It's the loss of Casemiro is a massive drop, but some of these players are still generally good enough. Like, they should still be doing better. It's pathetic overall that they just couldn't be arsed. Like, they immediately resorted to type, most of these players.
And if you want me to be honest, I know just as much as you said Casemiro was a loss, I would argue to the fact that Eriksen right now is a bigger loss than Casemiro, because up until that first goal was scored, defensively we wasn't overly bad. So that made me think it wasn't the fact that we was missing that defensive midfielder, but we was missing someone who was able to gain possession into the midfield. So Sabitzer is a lot more creative for me than he is a number 8. Scott McTominay isn't even a Premier League footballer. So we're really badly missing Christian Eriksen more than anyone, I'd say.
I think that's a very fair comment. I mean, Eriksen himself, like, he's a fantastic player. Like, we have missed his creative ability. I mean, the fact he was, before he got injured, he was second in the assist list as well. So that's it. That says it all. But, like, I think it says a lot in terms of the drop off of certain players in this team. Where if there are certain players, I would don't say Eriksen. I think that's a fair comment. But the sheer drop of having someone in that position of Casemiro, like, not there, we really look so easy to get past. But Eriksen's creativity is fundamentally brilliant. Like, I don't disagree there as well. But it's a major worry where certain players just don't bother. Like, and we look lost. It's that's the worst part as well.
Yeah, we'll go into the comments. We've got plenty of comments here. Hey there, Cheeseboy 100. Hope you're well. Thanks for coming in. Pain well. Liverpool have more pain. Well, I'd hate to be a Liverpool fan right now. Sorry, Rather. Sorry, Rob. Sorry, Rods. Because I know they're in the chat. Rather, United could beat Brentford. Don't predict us to win here, Rather. I know what you've done. You jinxed us yesterday.
It's the common Ravi curse. Like this man could probably predict a presidential election for the Americans.
Yeah. Hey there, Andrew. I hope you are well. Thanks for coming in. United got away with it for months. Casemiro, red card was a straw, but broke the camel's back. We started with Scott as an 8, a 10, and Wow as a 9. Come on, man. Absolutely. I completely agree with that. I think in terms of Weghorst, what I probably wouldn't have started him for the game. Perhaps maybe I would have probably started Sancho on the left and put Rashford up top because Rashford wasn't offering anything on that left hand side. At least I would have done that coming into the second half at the bare minimum. Instead of taking off Antony, and then popping Sancho on the right. Hey there, Rods. I hope you're well. Thank you for coming in. Andrew, I predicted 3-0 Newcastle on Rich Sport and got mocked. Well, you've got
I had 2-2. I had 2-2. That's what I had. I didn't think we were going to win this game at all. When I didn't think we would have lost either. Not because it's not predicting my team to lose, but I didn't think we were going to lose because Newcastle haven't been great. They haven't been great lately, but not all in all,
there was more hungrier. They had more passion. Even if we didn't have, let's be real, right? You're looking at Newcastle starting 11. You've got the likes of Joe Willock starting, and you've got the likes of Joe Willock. You've got Dan Burn as a left back. For me, they're not Champions League quality, but the difference is that they were hungry. They was determined, and they wanted to win that game. They wanted them 3 points. We've got bang average, actually less than bang average Dallo. We've got Luke Shaw, who had the worst game, I would say, this season. Well, actually, third worst game because his first 2 games were shocking. Our full-backs were horrendous, and somehow the centre-backs came off, which I'm
not even, I think, in terms of criticising the manager, I've very rarely criticised him all season because he's responded very well. But if you're going to if you're going to switch to a back 3 and try to change the game, at least keep, I can understand bringing on Lindelof. That's fine. That's bringing on a centre-back. But at least keep Martinez or Varane on, at least keep one of them, not take them both. It made no sense.
I would have took off Dallo, and I would have put on Lindelof in that case, and then moved over to the back 3, and then I would have played further forward.
That would have worked. I was very surprised when I saw when I seen the changes coming. I was like, all right, let's see who comes off. And then I saw Lisandro Martinez coming off. I was like, all right, okay. Now I'm shocked. He's taken off he's taken off our best centre back this season. And then I see Varane, and I'm like, what did Varane do wrong all game to come off? I was like, but that made no sense. So I was completely baffled. The manager yesterday, all season, he's had performances that have been very poor. He has, and that's including game management, tactics-wise, and just not picking the right team going into the game. But he's responded well in the game to at least change that. Yesterday, he got everything wrong. So I'm not going to let the manager escape that sort of criticism. But he does have to respond immediately against Brentford. But it was just crazy that some of the decisions he made. It's hard to comment on it as well because I would like to have known the logic of it. I didn't see any logic in those changes yesterday.
Hey there to my dad. I hope you're well. Thank you for coming in. Hello, Doug. I hope you're well. Thanks for coming in. You were close with your prediction for 2-1. 2-1. Hey there, curlers. Hope you're well. Thanks for coming in. The reality is United ain't a crap side, but if you don't turn up in any game, you get beat. And yesterday, the whole outfield went missing. You've seen it before this season, sadly. And Curlers is absolutely spot on when he is saying this. Absolutely spot on.
I don't argue that at all.
My dad just got a question here. Do you think Dan Burn should have had 2 yellow cards for his fouls? He did make some dirty fouls, Dan Burn. I must be honest. He could have at least got 1 yellow card in that game, but he got away with scot-free.
Yeah, say it loosely, he was a right dirty bastard. He was, but he was getting away with it. I thought he was very lucky not to get a yellow for some of the challenges on Antony. But then again, Antony as well was doing what Antony does best. He was shithousing it. He was backing into him and he was trying to beat him with flair, trying to force him to come in on him. And it wasn't going to get anywhere. That is not going to get Dan Burn booked. But No, I do agree. I think I doubt he was going to get sent off, but with the way he was the way he was playing, you would have probably put a bet on it. But I would definitely said I would have said the one in particular was worthy enough. It was just crazy. Like some of the stuff he was actually doing, it was ridiculous.
Mm-hmm. Hey there, Lumen. I hope you're well. Thank you for coming into the chat. Curly said, Maisy, we both agree Dalot is crap and needs to be sold well in advance of Wan-Bissaka. I've said it all along. You know what? I am actually just going to come out and say this, is that I would literally rather start Malacia as a right back than play Dalot for the rest of the season. I'm done with the guy. I was done with him 2 seasons ago. After that,
Yeah.
do you like? It was after that AC Milan. It was 2 seasons ago. After that AC Milan game where he was trying to purposely get our players sent off, knowing that we was his parent club, I was done with him after that.
Yeah.
Because I thought that's pure disrespect. If that's your parent club, don't get involved. And
Yeah.
that made me get done with him for that.
But you know me, I don't mind Dallo. Like I do like Dallo, but like I will, yeah, I like him. But I do agree, I have not been overly convinced by him at all this year. I don't think he's carried on performance wise. Like, I mean, there was a tweet the other day, fun enough. I actually quoted it. It was four past United players basically, and it was like if you had to pick one to come back to the club, who would you choose? And it was Carrick, Scholes. Sorry, it was Carrick, Jisung Park, Chicharito, and it
I've
was
seen that in Valencia.
Valencia, and I quoted saying I would have all four back in the team, but when you look at a problem position, I'd have Antonio Valencia as my starting right back straight away.
Yeah, absolutely.
What's up, G?
Hey there, Red Devil Studio. I hope you are well. Thank you for coming into the chat. I know there's a few a few questions, so I will get into them a little bit later on. Hello to my queen. I hope you are well. Thank you for coming in.
Hello.
Don't do me dirty like that. Don't do me dirty like that.
Oh yes. Let's celebrate. You've been caught, Rick. You've been caught dirty, Maisie. Maisie's done. You're done. You're done, love. You're done. You're finished. Retire. Please don't retire. Please don't retire. Keep going.
Well, there's plenty of questions in there, so I am going to go through them a little bit later on. But we will do the player ratings for the Newcastle game very quickly. I can't wait to do these ratings. Maisie loves all the washed players, Henderson included. Depends what Henderson you're meaning, because all Hendersons are washed up from what I'm watching.
Brutality.
Yes, so we'll start with De Gea. I'm going to go for you with De Gea, what your rating is for him.
The thing is, I know for a fact the one thing Newcastle done all in all yesterday was they targeted De Gea any way they could through high delivery, like the crosses into the box, playing low balls into him, like forcing him to come off his feet. De Gea wasn't great yesterday at all. But another thing as well that really was disappointing is I don't blame him for the first goal. The first goal we conceded, the St. Maximin cross-back that got the header, and I don't blame that. The defensive positions there, St. Maximin should not have had any of that space. The second goal, however, the space on that, shocking. De Gea for me 4. I don't think he was. He was not the worst player. He was not the worst on that one.
I want to say a big thank you as well to Andrew for the £5 super chat. It really, really means a lot. Thank you for the support there onto the channel. I had the same rating as you, to be honest. I had De Gea as a 4. I just think for me, he wasn't the worst player in the world, but his commandment was really scary. I was genuinely scared every single game. Every time there was a corner, as I said, he doesn't command his box. But I think some more people here had some ratings. Niall had De Gea 8. Andrew had him as a 6. My dad had him as a 7. Curly's had him as a 6. And hey there, Matata. I hope you're well. Thank you for coming in. I think De Gea needs to move on from Rather. So we'll do what our ratings are as a 4. And I'll go with Luke Shaw now. I'm going to have Luke Shaw as a 2. He was nowhere near good enough. He was shocking. As I said, it was his 3rd worst game in a Manchester United shirt this season.
Yeah.
He was shocking going forward, giving possession away very, very easily. And Jacob Murphy, he was able to get ahead of him a lot. I just don't think. I think he was absolutely shocking, and he's the 2nd worst defender on the pitch.
And let that just remember the name you said there was Jacob Murphy.
Yes.
He is a bang average player. Like, he is a bang average player, but the difference yesterday is he was made to look great by our performance, just how bad we were. Luke Shaw, honestly, I'm the same as you. I don't even know, like in terms of yesterday, he did nothing of significance. He got a red card in the England game to get a rest to come back for this game. He may as well not have got the suspension in the first place, because it looked like he was still it looked like he was still playing international football in terms of his intensity, his movement, slow pace, slow off the pace, not interested, didn't do any defensive work, didn't barely cross the halfway line when we needed him to, barely put an effort in to actually win the ball back, didn't do enough to attack as well. I agree too. Like, he was awful.
Agreed. Let's see what other people said. Andrew had a Shaw as a 3. Dad had Shaw and Delo as a 2. Matata's got Shaw as a 4. Rabbi's got the same as us as a 2. Curler said the rest of them get a 2 for me. All of them showed no heart, desire, or fight all game. Completely agree.
The only one I was going to say I agree with your dad here. I think in terms of this, Martinez I'm going to score highly, because every time the ball actually came towards the box yesterday before it got taken off, Martinez was at least fighting to actually stop us from conceding. So
I will give both of them a 5, to be honest, though, just as my dad has said. And the reason why I would give a 5 is Martinez was better on his defensive duties, but Varane was progressing the ball forward. You could see him. He was actually going further forward than what I see Sabitzer going forward and Dalot going forward to try and bring that ball forward.
Yeah, I agree. We may as well put 5s in straight away. Like, I completely agree with you on that one.
Okay, that's fine. So, hey there, just me. I hope you're well. Thank you for coming in. Andrew had Varane 5, Alessandro 4. I can't wait to do this rating. I cannot wait to do this rating. I've been waiting for it. I'm gonna give Dalot a 1.
That's generous, because I'm giving him this.
Nah, you can't give zeros. That's just tight. But
I believe in strong criticism. If you're absolutely fucking awful, I'm giving you a 0. It's either a 0 or non-applicable.
He was just beyond terrible. Worst player on the pitch by a country mile. He was literally, he was getting smoked by ASM. His crosses, what the hell were them crosses? He had a good shot to take on goal, was non-existent. It's terrible. It's absolutely terrible. I want him gone. I'm just going to say it as it is. I want him gone.
I'm at that point now where I'm the same.
I don't want him in a Manchester United shirt next season.
I'm at that point where I'm the exact same, even though I do like him. I am at that point. It's the annoying thing is he was actually working hard throughout the season to actually show why he got in the team in the first place, and now he's completely it's went completely backwards, and it hasn't worked out. I do think we need to invest in that position in the summer, and we do need to. I think Aaron Wan-Bissaka is a decent player, but he isn't enough. And I reiterate that point. Even though he's had some good games, I'm still not fully convinced he is the right man to take us forward at right back. I still think we need a better option. But I would rather we play Wan-Bissaka right now till the end of the season.
Mm-hmm. What you give? So we're going to agree with a 1 for Dalot then.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Andrew's got Dalot a 3. He had him as a 4, but changed into a 3 for the missed chances. So I'll let you do your rating for your friend McTominay as your Scotland fans called him a world beater / Mick Zidane. So I will let
I have
you
not
take
seen
it
any of
forward.
these comments, by the way. Just to confirm, I have never seen him once be called a world beater.
I've
Although I
seen it in
have
my own
seen.
live chat, by the way.
You have, I haven't. So I have to say this comfortably. He isn't. And I hate the fact he does get compared to one of my favourite midfielders, like midfield players of all time, and one of my all-time favourite footballers. Like, I hate that comparison because he will never be on that level. McTominay, international level, both games against Cyprus and against Spain, he actually had very good games, playing in a position I expected him to actually continue with against Newcastle. And he didn't. He did none of that. He resorted to type. He offered nothing in midfield. Half the time he was actually walking back to in defensive position. That for me right there is a sackable offence. If that had been, and I know you aren't going to agree with me on this one. If that had been Paul Pogba, it would be all over social media, and he would be getting ripped to fucking pieces. Excuse the language. He would be getting ripped to pieces. But because it's Scott McTominay, it's hardly going to get commented on. He was either walking back or he was abject jogging. In a game like this, where we are fighting to maintain our position in the top four, where Spurs have a chance to catch on us now. If Spurs beat Everton tonight, they will go above us in the league. We're losing that option as well. I know,
but we still got games in hand, even though we can't really count on that.
I'm not even gonna put on games in hand right now because we probably won't even win them. Like I'm actually quite concerned about our games in hand when you think about it. Any other player, the most important thing in a game is professionalism. Besides having talent, some players don't have any talent, but they have work ethic, they've got work rate. McTominay, in most games, he's constantly praised by fans to a degree about work rate and the fact he works hard. From what I've seen on social media. From what I've seen, yeah, I've seen it. In this game in particular, it was clear lack of professionalism. And you know what? I'm going to give him the same score as Dallo. I honestly don't care. I'm giving him a 1 just for the fact there was no professionalism. If you don't have work, if you don't have professionalism, you don't deserve anything in football. You don't deserve anything as a career.
I agree with everything you said, but I had a concern was as well. What position did Scott McTominay play yesterday? Because 1 minute,
no idea.
It was kind of like, in a kind of way, like he's a bit like when you're one of them youth kids, you've come back from international break, you absolutely gasp, buzzing your head off, like, check me out in 2 games, I've got 4 goals kind of thing. I want to do it for my club now. I want to prove everybody all wrong. So I'll tell you what, I'll play as a second striker next to Wegos, even though I'm not clinical. I'll pop myself as a winger and try and cross a few balls in there. But to be honest, I won't track back and I won't do any defending. I just want to get a goal. And that's exactly what McTominay was doing. Because I actually seen him on the right-hand side. I seen him as a striker. I actually didn't even see him once as a midfielder in the game. It was shocking.
And another thing as well, there's another player in this lineup as well that gets criticised for the exact same thing. So like it's going to be interesting when we get to Fernandes, but like who we both love as a football player, he gets the same sort of comments where he's all over the place in terms of position. The difference is though is he actually does something. Now I'll shamelessly say I was happy that McTominay got those 4 goals for us for Scotland because we actually needed the results. But when it comes to club football is important because club football is your bread and butter.
We pay the wages.
Exactly, and the annoying thing is though is he will get defended so much because he had those 2 games. I wasn't in the position where I'm like, oh great, I'm now going to have to wait and see if he actually does resort to type. I was hoping he would continue the good performance, but no, he immediately resorted. And as a Man Utd fan, I'm like, it actually is painful annoying to see that, where if that's what you're going to do with your attitude, then go to Newcastle or whatever. I honestly don't care. Like, because that is not how you should be conducting yourself.
So we'll go into what other people said. My dad
Bring
said
it on.
midfield and forwards get a 2 or a 3. Ravi said 1 for Dello.
Yeah.
Andrew said 3 for Scott. Hey there, John Hand. I hope you're well. Thank you for coming into the chat. Ravi said Bruno 4. Andrew said 5 for Sabitzer. So yeah, I'll do my rating now for Sabitzer. And for me with Sabitzer, I gave him a 3. If you want me, Sabitzer, he did do the odd tackles, which was great, but that isn't his job to cover for Scott McTominay. And in that kind of respect, I did feel sorry for him. He had a few forward runs where the service wasn't overly great for him, and I just think for me is he would be used so much better if he obviously had a proper defensive midfielder next to him and who isn't called Scott McTominay. And I just think that he got played massively out of position, and he was left in the lurch massively by the rest of the midfielders, including Bruno Fernandes, not just Scott McTominay, but Bruno included. And that's why I'm giving him a 3, just because I think that he couldn't have done any better based off what he had to deal with.
I think that's fair. Me personally, I think he was the better of our 3 midfielders. I'm actually going to go one above you. I'm actually going to give him a 4. But in respect to it, I do agree. Sabitzer in this position, no Casemiro, obviously due to suspension, but he actually has played fairly decent with Fred. Like, they've actually had a good partnership. I'm surprised that it wasn't Fred Sabitzer as a partnership, but when I just look at it in hindsight, like I like Sabitzer. I think he's a good player. I would keep him permanently, provided we still get another
Bench
top
player.
midfielder.
That's it. Bench.
Rotation. Yeah, rotation. A rotational player. I'd be fine with that. As long as we get a more top choice now starter to go beside Casemiro, like as well as Eriksen. But when I just look at it in general, it's just the fact that this midfield was asking for trouble the minute it came on the field, because none of them really bothered.
We'll go now with Marcus Rashford. What's your rating for Rashford?
He didn't do anything of sort against Newcastle. He was involved in the penalty that wasn't given, that wasn't going to be a penalty in the first place, but that's the only thing I remember him doing all game. 2. There's nothing much I can really comment on. I don't think he was even involved in the game. I think he was quite anonymous. His position on the right flank against Trippier had him sorted. I think the best thing we could have done was, as you said earlier on, put him through the middle and put Sancho or even Palestri on at left wing. Like one of the two, at least he would have been able to attack Fabian Schär, who was all sorts yesterday. Like, several times he took knocks to the head against Rashford, where his concentration would have been slightly affected. I think Rashford could have caused them problems, but in the sense of it, he was anonymous in his preferred position. So yeah, I'll stick with 2. But
I had the same rating as a 2 for Rashford. He was definitely non-existent. Trippier, he pocketed him massively. He kept running. It just felt like it was the same Rashford from 2 seasons ago, when he kept running into defenders, wasn't offering anything at Man United.
yeah.
He was using his pace. That's just about it. He didn't really offer us much going forward.
And it's annoying to say as well, because he has been one of our better players this year. He has been our most effective player as well in terms of like goals and assists. Like, he has
But that's
been
the problem.
But
no Rashford, no party is looking like this season.
I would say so, yeah. I'd say so.
And I agree with what somebody said, is it's just like how we played under Ole, is that we're heavily relying on individual brilliance to get us points.
Yeah, I would say so. I would say so.
Ravi's gone for a 3 for Rashford, and so's Andrew. Bruno's rating for me, I'd probably have to go for a 2 also. nowhere near good enough. Diving every opportunity. All complaining every opportunity. Just the same as McTominay, didn't even know where position Bruno was playing. Got to the point he was going as far as a centre back. The only thing I can't think of much what Bruno offered.
Bitching, that was it.
Yeah.
I mean, I love the guy. I know you do as well. Like, we both love the guy, but I am sick to the back teeth of the bitching to the referee.
Yeah.
There's passion, and then there's taking the fucking piss, and that's exactly what he did. And it was more detriment than positive. And all in all, I was honestly so disappointed with him, like extremely disappointed with him. Yeah, I'm the same rating as you. Like, he was the one that really annoyed me the most. He annoyed me more than Dallo.
I won't go that far.
I will in that sense. Like, just because he offered no creative spark.
Andrew's gone for a 1 for Bruno, and so's Ravi. Anthony's rating. I know you're his fanboy, so take it away.
He didn't do a lot. To be fair, like he played. I don't think he played bad. I know a lot of people were saying that Anthony was bad against Newcastle. I don't think he was. The problem is there was nothing going around him. Like, he's the only one that actually took a chance at Newcastle's goal. That says it all for me. Like, nobody else actually bothered to take an opportunity. The fact he was at least trying to force Dan Burn into mistakes, to at least try and get on side to see if we can actually do something on the right wing. We were getting nowhere. Like, from all across the team, I don't think he was bad. I actually think he was the best out of all of our attacking players. I'm giving him a 3. I feel sorry for him. I love Anthony, but in terms of the whole team itself, like, he is the best of a bad bunch when the bad bunch are just doing nothing to justify the position.
You know what? I don't rate Dallo. I mean, Anthony. It's as simple as that. But
yep.
And I agree with what Doug is saying here. It's so one-footed, it's really bad. I think if it works, but it really isn't. And it does say a lot when Anthony is your best forward player. He did offer a bit of pace. He was trying to get in with Dan Burn, but I just don't think he was still not good enough. So I had him as a 4, just because he was better than a bad bunch, but he was nowhere near good enough for me. Anthony.
I think there's one point. Sorry to cut on that, Maisy. I think one thing to say as well is, I personally, right now at the end of the season, I know Weghorst does work hard, but he just doesn't finish. Honestly, right now, I would put Rashford through the middle. I'd put Anthony on the left wing, on his preferred left foot, and just let him run there. And I would put either Sancho or Palestri. Actually, I would put Palestri on the right-hand side. I've been more impressed with Palestri than I have with Sancho recently. That's what I would do till the end of the season. Even though Ten Hag does like playing with an inverted winger, I know Anthony does prefer the right-hand side. The way it's going, I would rather we go back to the old school, like, left winger plays left footer plays left wing, right footer plays right wing. Because at the moment, we're not getting anything out of him. I thought we would see more from his right foot, because he does have use to it, but he does seem reluctant. He still seems overly reluctant, and when he cuts in his left foot, he's wasting time having to cut in all the time.
Here's the thing, it's just go off a little bit of topic. It's a bit like watching the Man United women's team, Leah Golden. She's so left-footed, she cannot use her right foot. It's literally, as soon as she has a ball on her right foot, she's quickly changing it to her left foot. And that's what Anthony does with his left foot. That he is he can only use that one foot. But the difference is Leah Golden plays on the left, and she's terrific on the left. She's very effective on that left-hand side. And I just don't think Anthony's just not good enough for me.
I've never seen him play on the left. I
haven't, but the thing is, he tracks back. Fair enough, I'll give that to him. He only passes to certain individuals.
He does.
I've never seen him once pass to Rashford. I've never seen him once pass to Martial or Weghorst. So it makes me think, is this some kind of little bit of competition regarding the forward plays? Like, I don't want to pass to him because I don't want him to get a goal, or I don't want to pass to him for this reason. He only seems to pass to Ericsson, Bruno, and Casemiro from what I've watched, and Ronaldo when he played, because it's like, oh, I'm playing with the GOAT here. But he does not pass to certain individuals, and his greediness is just is no need. He did a couple of crosses, and I was looking at it thinking, this is why this guy does not cross, and he'd rather cut in. Because I've never seen a winger who's so bad at crossing, and it makes me fear for that right-hand side because Dalot can't cross, and neither can Anthony. I'm thinking, where's his surface coming from on this right-hand side?
No, I do agree, and I think that's where it is. I still think, because the funny thing is, right, is we have seen him play in Europe against the likes of Sporting and Borussia Dortmund, and he was very effective at actually crossing a ball. His delivery as well for Ajax in the Champions League says a lot, but then again, though, is Champions League Europe, there's a lot to it. But when you see the performance, there is something there. I still think the fact is, though, he's still young. He has got a lot of time on his side, and Ten Hag, he still does. Will we see it? I don't know. I hope I
but
do.
You need to look at in this case, and if you're looking at his age, why aren't you thinking that about Dalot?
No, that's the circumstance, though, as well. Is I think you've got to look at it as, I think one of them is at least willing to. I think one of them is at least willing to do it, at least willing to work hard and train.
You can't really give the age factor here.
I'm just looking at that perspective from the sense that we've got a player who is fundamentally, because he's that age, you want to be in that key position for years to come. And I still think he has that. But, again, it all comes down to how he actually delivers on the pitch. If he doesn't deliver, then we will have to look at replacing him. I hope it doesn't come to that. I hope it doesn't. But
I will put a tenner on this right now.
No, I think it could happen. I'm just saying I hope it doesn't. I hope it doesn't, because I think there's a player in him.
Yeah, so Ravi's gone for 1 for Anthony. Andrew's gone for a 6 for Anthony. And hey there as well to Static. Thank you for coming in. I hope that you are well. So we'll end up with Weghorst. Don't think there's much to say. 1, didn't see him.
I still, yeah. I also disagree with Ravi's comment about when he says Dan Burn had Anthony on toast. For me, it was the opposite. For me, it was the complete opposite. Anthony had Dan Burn on toast. Dan Burn was actually.
I think it was a bit of both.
I think Anthony just had him completely shithouse and he got knocked down for it. But in terms of like pure control, I think Anthony was more in favour in that side than Dan Burn was. But in terms of Weghorst, won like purely did nothing.
Yeah, well, not much really to say about Weghorst. So yeah, there's the ratings for yesterday's game. Shambolic. But we'll go on to the Brentford game. The last time we did play against Brentford, we got battered 4-0. And this is the game where Casemiro said, I want to fix that.
And the irony is he gets suspended and he's not even going to get to play in it.
Yeah. In terms of looking at that game, what was played in the start of the season, what do you think we'll do different coming into the game on Wednesday?
You know what the worrying thing is? Nothing. Judging by how we've played this year against teams in the top 9, because obviously we're the remaining team in the top 10, our performances have not been great. We've had wins here and there against some of these teams, but when it's a team that's a low block and it's a team that's actually set up well and they work hard, we struggle. We still struggle to break these teams down. Mm-hmm. And Brentford are no different. So all in all, like I don't know. I don't think we are going to do anything of significance against Brentford on Wednesday, and I'm saying that hoping that we win, but I'm calling it now. I don't think we are.
Mm-hmm. The thing is with Brentford, they are a quality side, and looking at Brentford, I think they probably are overachieving because there's a lot of teams underachieving right now. If all the teams were what you expected them to be, they'd probably be a mid-table team. But right now, they are pushing for Europe, and as it stands right now, they're currently standing in the Conference League spot.
I hope they get it.
Yeah, I hope they get it as well. Because I actually don't mind Brentford as a team. But I think something needs to change. And what people said is the defensive midfielder role. And some people had some options there of who we could play. Lindelof, Martinez as a defensive midfield option. And for me, in my opinion, I wouldn't do Lindelof. I think he's brilliant at progressing the ball, but he frightens me. At time to time with his one-on-ones. If I was going to change anything, I would probably put Martinez there.
Yeah.
But then if I was going to do that, I wouldn't trust Lindelof or Maguire to play as a centre-back. So that means Luke Shaw will play as a centre-back and Malacia will come on as the left.
Yeah, and we've seen that numerous times this year. And to the great times it has worked. I'm not sure. I mean, I like Lindelof, but I don't think this is the best game for him. But he has moments where he really is poor, but he's also still reliable in other games as well. I wouldn't mind this sort of game where we do that, but the only other option we've got is we just say we're not going to bother playing this game. Brentford can have the 3 points.
We can't have that mentality.
No, I'm
we can't have that mentality.
I'm joking.
Don't scare me.
I know, I'm joking. The only other alternative is we actually, for this game, we don't play the usual back four. Ten Hag decides to just play a back three, and he just sets it up. I think the only other option is he sets up he goes 3-4-3 or something like that. I don't know, but I just look at it and I don't think we can match them. I don't think we can get away with playing our usual system when we don't have a proper defensive midfielder. I don't think we can take them on in any shape or form.
This is the problem. I don't want to. Sorry, just what my man said in the chat there. I couldn't play the back three because our players, to play a back three, you have got to have a manager who's a back three specialist, and that would be Conte, Ruben, Thomas Tuchel. They're back three specialists. Ten Hag is not a back three specialist. Our players, you need to have centre backs who is specialised in the back three. None of them are specialised in the back three, apart from Maguire when he's played in the back three for England.
The only other thing, though, is because we've seen him try and do it a few times. He's done it at Ajax and he's done it a few times this season. Is he actually he just plays a diamond. He plays a diamond midfield four. I don't think we can get away with using wingers in this game because we don't even use the width well enough in that sense. We may as well just forego it and just play it. I don't know, but we don't have enough realistically to do it. We aren't a threat to Brentford right now. At the moment, we aren't a threat because we don't have control in midfield. We aren't a threat to most teams if we don't have control in the midfield. And that's the big problem with Casemiro's suspension. Great player, stupid as hell as well. Like he's a great player, but he's so stupid when we don't want him to Those suspensions have hampered our season. They have hampered it.
You look at the suspensions because people are complaining. Do you think the suspensions were right?
Yeah.
I think so as well.
I mean, I don't know why people are moaning that he got suspended for about putting his hand around someone's throat. That he is put his hand around someone's throat. It's whether it's not harmful or not.
I agree with that suspension, but I also agree Ayew should have also got that red card.
I agree. And also as well, and I got a lot of stick for the second one. I put on Twitter saying like Casemiro was a stupid tackle, stupid decision. A lot of people were arguing about it. For me, that was also a red card, and I agreed with it. Like I hated the fact that he got suspended. I didn't want him to, but the fact that he got suspended for a stupid challenge as well in the Leicester game says all for me as well. So it was another bang on call. When Casemiro, that's his problem. He's a great player, But his temperament, his decision making has cost him, and it's cost us as well, most importantly.
And I also think that the fan base is being silly over the penalties as well. Just because people say we haven't been given a penalty for such and such a thing, but the problem is that the penalty is what people are moaning at shouldn't be penalties.
And also, if you want to get a penalty, you've actually got to make it happen. Just look at Man City. They bought the best player in the Premier League to actually go and get a penalty, and that's Jack Grealish, because that's all he does.
We'll quickly go through a couple questions before we do wrap up. A question from Ravi. Thoughts on Varane? I think Varane is absolutely fantastic. He is a progressive centre back, and I am gonna say an unpopular decision, an unpopular opinion is to that based off individual players, Varane is a better player than what Rio Ferdinand ever was for Man United.
Yeah, I mean, I did like. I've always liked Rio Ferdinand, but I agree in terms of what. Varane
I'm not talking
brings,
about success. I'm talking about the individual players, and I just think for me is Rio Ferdinand won't look a fantastic player if he didn't have Vidic next to him.
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, also as well as we both have said that for ourselves I've seen the comment you were laughing at. I'll applaud that. That is fucking funny. Married at first sight. I mean, sure, if you want to find an investment. In terms of that, I agree. But in terms of just what he brought to the team, Ferdinand was great. But not Varane individually. But he's second to none in terms of what he does. And the fact is, well, that he's retired from France as well gives us more time as well. That's great. Less likely he's going to have more opportunities to get injured, which is exactly what we don't want. We don't want him getting injured.
A question from Niall. Would you guys take Harry Kane, Osimhen, Frankie de Jong in the summer? When I done my interview with Ben Jacobs, Frankie de Jong isn't going to happen. So it is most likely Harry Kane and Osimhen. Harry Kane wants to extend his contract at Tottenham Hotspur, so Osimhen is going to be the most likely one.
I know a lot of people prefer Harry Kane. I would take Osimhen in a heartbeat, and it's not because he's the next big thing or whatever. I watched Serie A, and shout out to Napoli for getting smashed 4-0 off AC Milan last night. But yeah, they did. So Champions League's going to be fun. Harry Kane right now, in terms of output and all that, he is one of the best in the world for that in terms of getting goals. But on that sense, he is 29, turning 30. I would rather we go and get a younger option now, who is still playing at the highest level, who is going to go into that position for years to come, and we can build a team around him. So that's why I would go for Osimhen. Not because he's playing the league that I absolutely enjoy, not because he's the next, he is that hype. He is hyped up, but he's playing in one of the best teams in Europe, and he is constantly performing. I would rather we go and get that right now, where that's a position sorted for years to come. As for Frankie de Jong, he wanted his money. He should have just went, well, he was never going to get it anyway. He should have just said, nah, I'm just going to move on. He didn't. He chose to stay Barcelona. To hell with him. I don't care. Kane, just nah. Even though he is a brilliant player, no, I would rather
take Kane, though. I would take Kane, because I do think Kane... The thing is, we need a 20-goal-a-season striker, and Kane is that.
Yeah.
I do agree what people said. He could be our Robin van Persie. But I would still rather take Osimhen, but I wouldn't say no to Harry Kane either.
You'd be dumb to say no to it overall, but I would rather the longer term option than Kane. That's just me. But
question from Rather: what the F does McTominay actually offer? Good question, Rather. I couldn't tell you, and it's something I will tell you. He doesn't offer football.
He offers hope. He offers hope. If you want a career in football and you're average quality, then you've got a chance.
Question from Niall. Do you think Sancho will stick around at Man United despite his personal problems next
No,
season?
I think he's getting sold. I think Ten Hag is losing patience with him.
I've read that he is losing patience, but I think he will still give him one last season. We can't just. We've seen that he wants to get rid of Maguire. He wants to get rid of. He wants to get rid of Maguire. He wants to get rid of Wan-Bissaka. He wants to get rid of McTominay. He wants to get rid of a lot of players. We can't get rid of 7 players in one transfer window and not by that same amount plus get deepen into the squad. And for that reason, I think Sancho is going to get one more season.
I like Sancho. I want him to prove. I want him to prove his worth and actually stick out with this team. I think he's got a lot of talent in there that can be useful to this team. But the fact that he has not been great since his return, I don't think the manager's overly impressed. The fact that Garnacho, even though he's injured, Garnacho's heavily favoured for the left-hand side more than Sancho is. Palestri is done very well every time he's came on the field. He's actually very effective at crossing a ball. Sancho, I did say to yourself, I think Sancho would be a wise option as a rotational number 10. I think he's better suited there than out wide, but he hasn't really done anything. Maybe he goes out on loan next year. I don't know, but that would be a massive mistake to loan a player we've spent big money on. But I don't want it to
one more season. One more season for me.
Yeah,
he signed a 5-year deal. Signed so by the time the end of the season is, he's got 2 years left on his contract. The same amount of he had when we signed him from Borussia Dortmund. So it's possible. So I would give him that final season for me.
Yeah.
And then it's make or break. My dad's gone for 3-1 for United, and Andrew's gone for 2-1 for United. What's your score prediction, Reece?
1-1.
Okay. I'm gonna go.
I'm generally. I don't think we're gonna win. I'm not overly convinced based on how we played against Newcastle.
I'm gonna go for a very optimistic 2-1 win for Man United. But we'll wrap it up here. Thank you, Reece, for coming on. It's been a great show.
Oh, I've enjoyed it. Thanks for having me on, Mace. It's always good to be on the show. I know it's been a little while, so it's good to see that. And it's good to chat football with you as well as always. I'm hoping we do beat Brentford on Wednesday. The way we played against Newcastle, like that abject performance has really worried me for the run in, especially because we still have the FA Cup semi-final to come as well. We still have the Europa League against Sevilla as well. Like Nottingham Forest the City Ground is coming up as well, April 15th. And it's all similar base style of play teams, and that's the annoying thing. They're all similar apart from Brighton. Apart from Brighton, the rest of them are all pretty much similar. So, but we'll see. But no, all in all, thanks for having me on. It's good. It's good to see you. It's good to have some chat, and it's even better than hearing you rinse Dallo. Like just sitting here listening to how you rinse Dallo. It's even more fun.
My dad has asked, who do you think is getting the number 7 shirt? Personally, for me, no, nobody deserves it.
Garnacho.
I wouldn't give it Garnacho just yet.
I would. I'm not saying like right now, but I think I wouldn't be surprised if he does get it.
I still wouldn't give it him though. Hey there, Amir. Hope you're well. Thanks for coming in. Jews coming to Liverpool. Maisy, wake up. Paul Joyce just reported. Oh, I'm gonna have to look at this, and I want to know, how reliable is this Paul Joyce?
Never heard of him.
Yeah, and hey there, Lee. Thanks for coming in. I hope that you are well. So thank you, Reece, for coming on. Would you like to shout out your socials?
Yeah, with pleasure. All of it is right there, is under that link there. Devils Rising, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch as well.
Okay, I'll put your link in the description below. So if you haven't already, go and check out Reece's channel. He is on the road to 400 subscribers. I'll be next live myself on Thursday. I will be doing an Everton preview with Mike. Mike, he is a very brilliant Everton fan, so go and check that out. Have a lovely week, everybody. Take care. See you Thursday. Sorry. Bye-bye.
Bye, folks.